Today I'm here with Morgan Less, one of our best borrowers and real estate investors here in Nashville. Morgan's one of our favorite people to work with. I would love to hear, Morgan, just kind of how you got started in real estate investing.
I tried to start a business helping community college students get internships and jobs. Worked for like 10 months, made 10 grand, split it with a partner, 10 grand revenue. Then I was just like, you know what? Like, I really want to do something that's like a get rich for sure. Or I really just didn't want to like speculate anymore. I was like, I really want something that'll work. And so real estate's like, that was going to be my way to do it.
Yeah, I once heard someone say real estate is for the dumb man. Like, that's how the dumb man makes money. But regardless, so started a business, didn't work out, wanted to get into something a little more guaranteed. And so you got into real estate. One of the things I think you're incredible at is finding good deals. So I would be curious your strategy of like what leads to good deals, how you find these deals. Was it always that easy? What does that look like?
It's definitely not easy to find deals. Like, if anyone has any deals, like, send them my way. Like, I wouldn't say it's easy to find deals, but our focus is on finding good deals. So I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's just, that's really what we focus on versus like, I don't do a lot of podcasts, so this is a little out of the ordinary, but our real focus or our real value is like hunting off-market deals.
Do you find texting? Do you find off-market letters? Do you find calling? Like what has the highest likelihood of success?
Here's how I see it. If you do like pay-per-click, or if you do mail, or if you do texting, like eventually you're going to need to get them on the phone, right? So it might just be because like that's what we've done so well in the past, that's how I see the world. But I think about it as like, I'm eventually going to have to get them on the phone anyway. Mm-hmm. So I like just directly calling them. So I'm like a huge cold call guy. Like, I've made like 1 trillion cold calls, like big cold call guy.
Wow. And do you use a script or is it free flow?
I give my employees like callers scripts, but even when I train them, I say, hey, like, there's a lot of freedom in here. Like, really just try to be like a personable, like normal person. I think we all want to just like talk to normal, like people. Mm-hmm. So at this point, I don't use a script, but there's really no tricks at all in terms of like what I say. I'm really just trying to say, hey, like, my name is Morgan and I live down the street. Like, how's it going?
And how do you find these phone numbers? Are you using a software or are you just Googling names?
Most like kind of wholesalers or investors have probably heard of batch skip tracing. Although I feel like I'm not as scientific of a guy as you, I do try to be scientific. So we don't really mess with like switching around what we skip trace with. So we only have ever used batch skip tracing. And I get a bunch of ads of like, oh, we'll give you a big discount if you switch, but we don't switch. We just use like batch skip tracing and true people search. And I'll say one secret. I'm already dumping secrets out. But when you're a real estate agent, you get this website, Forewarn. Have you heard of that?
I've not.
Forewarn is for realtors for their like safety. You can look at their like criminal search, criminal background check. So Forewarn is like a really, really good tool. I'm an agent, so I get it for free, which is super awesome.
Mm-hmm. You've got this lead, you have them on the phone. How do you determine the value you want to pay? And then when do you start to know, okay, this is a good deal versus this is a bad deal?
My quick and dirty underwriting is like, what's the tax assessed value? So I feel like in Davidson County, people's taxes are about like 60% of what the property's worth.
Okay.
Obviously, that's not true every time, but in general, I would say tax appraised value is 60%. I can almost always pay the price that they're paying taxes on. So on average, I would say if Zillow says 300, the tax appraised value is going to be 200. I can almost always pay the 200 number. That's like the quickest, dirtiest underwriting I do.
And are you right out of the gate offering that price?
No. Again, like, I'm really trying to build rapport.
Okay.
Like, nothing beats just having an authentic like relationship with the other human being you're talking to. So I'm really just going for like, how can I build rapport? How can I build my own likability? Because if I'm likable and you trust me, like, we're going to do the deal together is my assumption. So I'm not doing any price. I'm trying to figure out what's the story with the deal and how can I get this person to like me?
Any tips on getting sellers to like you or building rapport with sellers?
I feel like what doesn't really get talked about in like the business world that much is everyone's like your KPIs, your leads, your data, and it's like kind of the assembly line of business, but no one's really talking about like the customer experience, right? So like Jeff Bezos hammers on customer experience. Like that's his like decision-making framework is like what's best for the customer, like what's the customer journey with this, And so he's trying to make it like you click 2 buttons, the thing just shows up to your house with free shipping. I'm trying to do the same thing, right? I'm trying to be like the local, cool, normal guy who like I pay all the closing costs. I'm super easy to work with. I'm super honest. And like, I'm trying to be like the Jeff Bezos of buying your house.
Awesome. Love it. Last question for me would be, someone who's wanting to get into flipping or real estate in general. You probably get this question a lot. Do I go into wholesaling? Do I go into flipping? Do I go into development? Do I go into multifamily? Like, how would you give advice to that person?
Here's what I say, because I do get that question a lot, is like, I have no issue. I first started by just working for someone. So I think there's no shame in working for someone else. Like, I didn't exactly get into real estate just to be my own boss. Like, if someone else will pay me $2 million a year, like, I'm happy to like be their employee and wear their shirt and show up this time. So I would say like just work for someone who's smart and that you really respect. Because when you work for someone who's like smarter than you, like you kind of absorb all their knowledge like over time, right? So, and don't have an ego about like working for someone else, because you're probably going to be like shooting from the hip, making a bunch of mistakes. But for me, like I worked for this guy, Jamel. All Jamel's trying to do with me is like put me in a situation to win for him, right? So he's not going to let me like go off in la la land of like making a bunch of like rookie mistakes, because if he's paying for me, or even if I'm commission only, like he's incentivized to make sure I'm like doing the right things day in and day out. So I would just work for someone because they're going to like steer your ship in a way that like you don't know how to do.
Beautiful. Love it. Well, tons of value. Morgan, thanks again for sitting down with us.
Thank you so much.
If you like that video, go to urbangatecapital.com and click invest or borrow.